Coming up, it's LiveWire. And what a show we have for you today. Who doesn't love a parade? Well, we have one in Sacramento on what? The 4th of July, of course, in Arden Arcade. Also, we've got representatives to Major Generals, so we have to be on our best behavior, from the United States Volunteers. They're going to tell us about their organization and how you can help. So sit back, relax, put your feet up, take your shoes off first, and get ready for LiveWire. Welcome everyone to LiveWire. I'm Bonnie Antonini, filling in for Ray Tatter. Later in the show, we're going to be talking about the 17th annual Arden Arcade 4th of July Parade. Who doesn't love a parade? But first, I'd like to introduce two Major Generals here to talk about the United States Volunteer, their organization. So welcome, gentlemen, Major General Hipwell and Major General Helix. Do I need to salute?
No.
Okay, because I'm not in the military, so I probably...
That's quite all right.
Okay. Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's an honor and pleasure to be here and be on your show.
Yes. Well, the United States Volunteers. Tell me about your organization.
Well, Dan, why don't you start off with the introduction about how we started and why we came about?
So the history of the United States Volunteers is pretty simple. In 1995, a man named Colonel John Sullivan was going to San Joaquin Valley National Cemetery in Santanella to participate in the final honors of a friend of his with whom he served in Vietnam. And at the National Cemetery, there was no honors. There were no honors whatsoever. I'll explain what honors are in a moment. And for the bugle, they pushed a button, and out of the ethereal netherworld came the taps. And on the way back, he just got the burn in his belly to say, "Not on my watch. This is not going to happen." So he called a bunch of his friends up and he said, "Hey, do you still have a uniform?" And then he asked the other important question was, "Do you still fit in it?"
The crucial question.
And they did, and they formed then the first Western Honors Unit, and serving at the San Joaquin Valley National Cemetery. And they got on the docket there. They would do 6 to 8 final honors a day, 3 times a month. Well, on a 5th Friday, so every quarter there would be another a third one. And it kind of morphed. People found out what we were doing. There was a unit in Southern California that was doing something similar. They liked what we were doing. We kind of joined forces for a little while. That didn't really work out. But in the meantime, a lot of people had heard what we were doing across the country, and the unit started to build. We went into New Mexico and Colorado and Texas and North Carolina, and it grew from there, New York. We had many units at one time that were doing this across the country, and it brought 26 different national cemeteries. Honors is 1959 Congress mandated that any veteran who served honorably should get honors at their interment for the service they rendered to the country. It usually means where you have the firing detail, you have a bugler, often a chaplain is provided, you have the pallbearers, and then of course the flag folders and a presenter of the flag. It's kind of been reduced to just the flag folders and the flag because the National Guard is responsible for doing around the country for veterans, not the active component, but for veterans. They don't really have the horses. They're busy doing their missions in their states, and of course when they're federalized for the federal mission. So it's kind of been dumbed down a little bit to only 2 people. Well, the United States Volunteers augments that, and we'll go in with the firing detail, with the chaplain, with the pallbearers, et cetera, and buglers as well. And we provide more of a complete service for the families. What we found is that service that most families of veterans want is because it's a completion. What's the word I'm looking for is there's closure. and to the service. And it's amazing how many, and I know General Hipwell can speak to this as well, how the service you render to your country, I don't care if it's 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, or 30 years, it's probably one of the most significant things that anybody who's ever served will talk about in their later years, because it was such an important thing to do, to serve their country and raise their right hand.
That's correct. And then what we offer, there are a lot of honor details that provide honors to our fallen heroes, the VFW, the National Guard, as Dan mentioned, and the American Legion. But the Legion and the VFW, typically, they're honor guards, and they're great and very professional. They show up in white shirts and dark pants. Well, we show up in an altered military uniform. We have the authorization from the Army to wear an altered military uniform that looks very much like an Army uniform, and we render final honors, and we present the flag to a bereaving widow or a bereaving family member. And for us, when we provide a flag, it's from a commanding general or myself, a very high-ranking official in a military uniform. So it adds another level to the family that, yes, their loved one was respected. For their faithful and loyal service to our country, the military sent out a detail to provide services and render their honors to our loved ones. So we add a value that the VFW and other honor groups cannot add on.
Now, you mentioned the uniform is similar to the Army, but this is not necessarily an Army only.
So the base is an Army uniform. The shirt and the pants, the epaulets, these are our medals are combined federal medals that we earned on active duty, or reserve duty, and also with the United States Volunteers has its own medals protocol, and we add those to the bottom. The federal medals take precedence. And we have certain distinctions. If an Army a soldier were to see our uniform, they'd look and they'd say, "Gee, that looks really familiar, but it's not quite the same." Right, it's not. The Army regulation that dictates the ability of a military society, which is how we're formed, to wear the uniform has distinctive differences, including the buttons that we wear on our coats. Our nameplates have United States Volunteers, where just an active duty person would have only their name. We have the USV on the epaulets, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So they would look at us and they would know that guy's not Army. At the same time, the family, just like General Hippo was talking about, the family feels like the military has paid attention to the service of their loved ones. They don't know the difference, and we don't really want them to. We want them to know that the military really does care about that honorable service.
But this service that you provide is for the Air Force, the Navy, for all branches?
We're kind of a purple service in the sense that we're not Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard. We serve all of them, and if you have a DD-214, which is the ending document to your service, if you have a DD-214, we're gonna make sure that your family has final honors for you at your graveside.
And if a family member is 90 years old and it served maybe at World War II, how would the family members they would just contact you, or
there's different ways to do it?
Correct. They would sometimes work with the mortuary. The mortuary would ask them, "Is your beloved one a military veteran?" And they would say, "Yes." "Okay, give us a 214. And then they have contact with us, like we do Golden Gate Cemetery, a lot of ceremonies there, and they know us. They would say, "Hey, we have a veteran that came in yesterday, and they would like honors rendered."
Did they ask the family at the mortuary?
Yeah, they ask the family, "Would you like military honors?"
I see.
And sometimes they'll say yes, sometimes they'll say no.
Okay.
So that's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is they get word from, who else can they get word from, Dan?
Well, Fort Lewis has requested our services. We've actually gotten calls from the Pentagon on certain ones would you provide honors, because they knew that the unit that ordinarily would do the honors for that area was indisposed or out of the country or whatever. And we've done several like that. I've done active duty services for the Marine Corps, of all things. During Iraq, the casualty assistance officer called me up and asked, and I was a chaplain at the time, and said, "Chaplain, would you do these services?" And I said, "Absolutely." And so the United States Volunteers provides those kinds of honors. We also do something different that other VSOs don't do and the military doesn't do, which is if your grandfather was interred in a private cemetery and there were no honors, and let's say his birthday's coming around or the date of his death is coming around, and you want to honor that in some way and provide those honors, we will actually come and reconstruct the honor service so we can provide the flag to the widow.
Really nice. Now, who are the people in your organization? Are they ex-military, like yourselves?
Primarily.
Primarily, our big 3 states currently are New York, the 11th Regiment, which we name our regiments based on when the state entered the Union. New York is the 11th Regiment. Texas is our second biggest, the 28th Regiment, and California is the 31st Regiment. So our 3 big states right now, Texas, New York, and California. So that's how we have these regiments set up, and then we support each of the military cemeteries in those regions, and we also provide services at private cemeteries as well.
Now, will you go to, does every state, first of all, have one?
No.
So you will travel?
We have traveled. Our North Carolina unit has gone to Virginia. Our Texas unit has gone to Oklahoma. Our New York unit has gone out of state as well. California is pretty big. We don't get the opportunity to travel out of the state very often, but we go to great distances to provide these. We go way up north to like Eureka and things like that from the Bay Area or from the peninsula. And we're in a campaign right now where we're building up the unit manpower-wise. Money-wise, we're going for donations because we are a private nonprofit, 501c3, going for our C19, which is a veteran service organization under the IRS code. We're about to get that, and we're dealing with several congressmen who are helping us out in providing more services across the country.
So is there no fee then for the family?
That's right. We charge nothing. There are times when people are very grateful and they say, "Can we donate?" Yeah, sure. We need all the help we can get because we buy our own blank ammunition. We buy our own weapons. Our NCOs have to buy their own uniforms. The officers always will buy their own uniforms. And we're trying not to have that as the case where we have enough funds so we can provide uniforms for our sergeants as they come in to provide this. We also will give gas money at 15 cents a mile to these folks because they do travel a long way. Yesterday I did a final honors Presidio San Francisco. I took my uniform off and put on the white shirt and black pants because we needed more firing people. And I have a shirt it's embroidered and it's got my USV stuff on it. But I went and did the firing detail there, and then went to Sausalito and did another one, and then went into Antioch to talk to another VSO about this. So the travel is we're always doing. That's pretty much on my own dime, and which is fine with me. We have a passion to provide these honors and to help out veterans.
Is this a full-time job for you?
For me, it is. I'm actually full-time as the executive director of the nonprofit. I'm currently, and I have been for way too long, been the commanding general of the organization, the national organization. General Hipwell is coming in. He's the incoming commander, and very soon I'm going to take a secondary role of being kind of a chief ambassador as well as the executive director, and I'm also his friend, so we talk a lot.
Oh, you're friends. Okay. Good. Now, I do have a question about the 21-gun salute. You said blanks, so is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Is it one person doing 21 rounds?
And by the way, we're really clear that it's blanks, just so you know. we look at the round. Just want you to know that.
Just making sure.
We don't often get 7. It's three volleys.
Three shooters.
Oh, 3 shooters, 7.
Well, we try to get, if we can get 7, we will. But we usually 4 is what we usually get. We will go down to 3, as General Hipwell said. But it's 3 volleys, so it's bang, 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 and so those volleys are fired in honor of that service.
How did they ever come up with 21? I don't know if you even know the answer to that.
Oh, I can't believe I don't know the answer to that.
That's a part of history that's locked in the back of my brain, but I Can't get it to the front.
Go
of my-
back
I know the
in
answer.
there. We could
You know-
probably Google it right now.
Yeah.
People out there,
Here, I got my
Google it
phone.
right now.
And call in and tell us why
Yeah.
the 21 gun salute started.
I know, I did wonder about that. And at least now I know it, they're blanks, because I never really knew that either.
Even when they do cannons, there's no projectile in there. It's just the
oh,
powder.
it's just the noise, like at a hockey game?
Right.
Some of the,
But
some of the
as an
things
added
like that.
feature, when we do fire the blanks, in a lot of cases, the families request the blank cartridges that we have fired in honor of their loved one. So then we'll gather them up out of the grass or wherever they are and provide them to the family as a memento for their final ceremony.
Well, what is the progress of the honors? How does it work if you go there? You know.
So you're going to be brought in with the escort for the person who's going to receive the flag, the next of kin, and we're going to seat them in a particular place where we know that's the individual that's going to get it. And then a chaplain will often start off, or if we don't have a chaplain, one of the individuals in the military will start off and explain exactly what we're going to do. And what we do are basically three things, minus a homily if there's a pastor there for final honors. We do the firing detail, and then after we do the firing detail, there's a bugler who will play taps. And after taps, they will unfold the flag totally, display the flag, and then fold the flag back up into the tri-corner hat.
Right.
And that is where the triangle that you see. In fact, it's represented here. The triangle, the flag, is folded to represent the Revolutionary Army tri-corner hat. And the blue field is always out. The red and white are tucked in, and it's a very exacting fold, and then it's presented in a particular fashion to the widow and or the next of kin. And the words that we say are on behalf of a grateful nation and the President of the United States. This flag is presented to you as a token of appreciation for the honorable service rendered by your loved one. Right. And so that is those are the beautiful words that are given to the next of kin with the flag.
Well, now say the name or your website, so if people want more information about how they could maybe participate if they choose, or just to learn more about it. I think it'll probably be on the screen, at least I'm hoping.
Sure, it's usvhonors.org. USV, United States Volunteers, honors altogether.org.
Okay, great. Well, we've run out of time. But thank you so much for coming and telling us about this. It's near and dear to my heart, as my son is in the Air Force.
Yes.
Hopefully it'll be a long time before he needs this.
You're a Blue Star mom. God bless you.
I am proud
That's
of it. So, well, thank you for joining us here.
Thanks for hosting us today, Bonnie.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Pleasure to be here.
Actually, I just got word, since this is live television, you guys are coming back after the break.
Oh, great.
Nice.
We'd love to be here.
Because our 4th of July people probably got stuck in traffic, and so they're not going to be here. So we are going to take a break. Is that correct? Oh, yes, we're going to take a break, and we will come back and find out more about these two major generals. So we'll see you in a couple minutes.
My grandfather served in World War II. Spending time with him were the best memories of my life. I became a physician at VA because of my grandfather, so I can help others like him. I can't imagine working with better doctors or a more dedicated staff. I'm fulfilling my life's mission with the help of my team and thanks to these veterans. I'm proud to be a doctor at VA and proud to honor my grandfather every day. Search VA Careers to find out more.
Who wants to hear a story?
Once upon a time, there were 3 billy goats.
The tiniest Billy Goat
Not
Road.
tripping over my bridge. It is I, the biggest Billy Goat Rump.
And the Billy Goat was so heavy that the bridge creaked and
There's a
groaned.
bridge they have to cross. And great ugly as your bowl. Eyes as big as saucers. Nose as long as a fire poker. And he had the biggest
The road, the troll, its only eye.
trick, trap, treat.
Filled with patrol and Pokemon.
Crushed him to bits.
Up to the hillside.
Well, come on.
Continued up to the hillside.
What if you could invest in the future? The future of kids, like a stock. Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change. A whole new kind of investment called Better Futures. When you invest, it helps kids go to college. Believe in us, invest in us, watch us grow. My name is Sydney, and I'm your dividend.
Welcome back to LiveWire, where we fly by the seat of our pants here, because we were supposed to have a second guest, but they didn't come. But let me just tell you a little bit about what they were here for. They were going to be talking about the 4th of July parade in Arden Arcade on the 4th of July. That's all I got. So if you're interested in it, I'm sure you can Google it and find out where if you live in the Arden Arcade area. But back to our major generals. I love saying that, major generals. What are the ranks, actually?
Well, there's a little saying that goes, be my little general. In terms of generals, it's B, brigadier, M, major, L, lieutenant general, and G, general. Be my little general.
Okay.
So 1-star through 4-star.
Okay. But what about all the rest of the ranks? I get confused about those as well. Do you have one of those little sayings for that?
Little sayings that, no, it's pretty easy from beginning, from the pay scale anyway. It's E1 through E9 enlisted. Then we have warrant officers, E1 through W1 through W5. And then officers are O1 through O9.
Okay. My son's a first lieutenant now, so I'm just learning it one step at a time. He was a second lieutenant, now he's a first lieutenant.
Now he's an O2, basic for pay. Right?
Okay, and then the next one will be the captain, right?
Captain, O3,
okay.
correct.
Okay. For a while, I guess, until major comes along, we're hoping.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so
That's
one
great.
step at a time.
So you're a Gold Star mom, excuse me, you're a Blue Star mom,
Blue
correct?
Star mom.
Blue Star mom,
That's
yeah,
right, yes. He's a career military man, so he thinks at this point. You never know if he decides not to. But yes, I'm very proud of him
That's
right
wonderful.
now. That's right. He's in Germany. He just got there for this latest round.
Great.
So,
how long is his tour of duty in Germany? Do you know?
well, it'll be at least 2 years. It could possibly be 3. And then who knows after that.
Right.
I'm kind of hoping Travis, because that's near us here. Yeah.
Travis is one of the biggest military bases for the Air Force, because
Yes.
a lot of cargo and people come in and out of Travis.
That's right. That's right. So I'm kind of hoping. He was in Colorado, and so we'll see where he ends up. It's way too early. He hasn't even gotten his furniture yet in Germany. So.
Right. Well,
Yes.
I can appreciate you. I'm also a military dad. I'm very blessed and fortunate to have a large family. I have 9 children.
9
2
children.
beautiful daughters and 7 sons. 6 of my sons have been in the Army. 3 are still serving in the Army. In fact, one's on a training mission right now who's going back to Afghanistan for his 5th tour.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. And then Dan is also from a big family, and he has military background.
I have 5 kids. I only have one that served. My oldest daughter was Army.
All in the Army.
My dad is
guys are
actually
all
a retired
Army.
2-star general of the United States Army as well. So my grandfather, I mean, the history goes back, and the nut didn't fall far from the tree.
Yeah. Well, my dad was Navy, but my son
We'll
wanted
forgive him for that.
But I'm bum.
Anchors away.
Yeah. No, he was in the Navy, but I don't know why my son picked the Air Force, but
They're all
but
good
he did.
services.
Yeah, they
They're all
are
a great way to
exactly.
serve.
You go where you need to, but.
You bet.
Well, what made you go into the military? Did you just decide because you have a strong family history that you decided to follow suit?
I don't know about General Hipwell, but growing up as kind of a semi-Army brat, my dad was reserve by the time I came around. All I ever wanted to be was a soldier, and I've done many other things at this point. But it was a passion that I had, and when I came off active duty, I wanted to get back in. I was actually out for 5 years, studying for the ministry, doing a master's in church development. And I had somebody approach me and started calling me sir. And I said, well, why are you calling me sir? And he says, I can spot an officer at 100 paces. And I said, well, you're right. And got the opportunity to come into the United States Volunteers, and that was in 2001. So I've been doing it for 17 years on top of my 14 federal service.
Okay, and then how long have you been in the United States Volunteers?
I've been in the volunteers, well, I should say 4 years, but I've been in Afghanistan as a DoD contractor for 2 of those 4 years. But to answer your initial question, I joined the Army in 1968, which was the height of the Vietnam War.
Oh my goodness.
And the draft was going on back then. And I had a friend in high school who went in the Navy as a shore patrolman, and his job was to guard the gate between NTC, Naval Training Center, and MCRD in San Diego. And he used to tell us all these horror stories about how bad they treated the Marines and how tough the Navy life was. So a friend of mine and I went to see the movie Green Berets by John Wayne, and we got all jazzed up and we signed up with Army Recruiter, went in, and we both went to Ranger School, went to Vietnam, and then later both became Green Berets. So John Wayne's movie inspired us to become Green Berets.
Very interesting.
General Hipwell actually is a combat vet from 3 wars, and if for the initiated that know what they're looking at, you'll see he's got a CIB with a star, which means that he's been under fire twice, and he's got very high awards. This is a real, genuine American hero that I sit next to, and I'm real proud of him, and not just as a friend, but as a comrade as well.
Well, thank you,
I
General.
think we're going to do a slideshow. We have
Okay, this is our New York unit, and that is doing a final honors at Pine Lawn National Cemetery on Long Island. And the big guy on the end is Major Pensa, who is the executive officer for the 11th Regiment. And then we have various officers and NCOs that are in line, and they're waiting for the hearse to arrive at that point.
Okay. Now we have another slide, I believe. Yeah, okay, here's one.
So that's General Hipwell and myself at Ground Zero. Do you mind if I tell the story?
Yeah,
on this one?
tell the story.
So we, when we were in New York visiting that unit, we told them we wanted to see Ground Zero, and so they got a wreath, and we did a ceremony with several of the troopers there, and we had our bugler, who actually is a professional trumpet player, did an incredible job, play taps, and we did a ceremony at Ground Zero with the 11th New York Regiment, United States Volunteers.
And we're getting down to the end, so
this is a picture of myself at one of the speeches I give at Veterans Day in Roseville. I'm honored and blessed to be able to provide speeches at Veterans Day and Memorial Day. So this is me conducting a speech in Roseville.
okay. Well, let's see, how much time do we have here? 30 seconds
Oh, there
to
we
go.
go. Outstanding.
Okay.
This is
you've got go ahead.
fundraiser we're going to be doing on November 10th, 2018 at the Concord Hilton. And you'll see our website down there, United States or usvhonors.org. If anyone's interested in supporting us, we do take donations from our website, and it would be very much appreciated if someone has a heart to help out our service to veterans to go to that site and also get more information on the dinner itself.
And are there volunteer activities they could do as well? I mean, anything?
There is. It's a little bit more complex than for the time we have, but if they were to go to the website, they'll be able to contact us, and we'd be able to help them out.
Okay, go to the website. Well, that is all the time we have for today. Thank you so much to the Major Generals here who did 2 full segments. That's not probably as much as you did in the military, I'm sure, but it's a lot. We thank you so much. Ray will be back next week. Be sure to tune in to LiveWire.